let me get started here. I want to thank everybody for coming today. Anybody who has any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We'll try to get to them as we can. I need to get over this. U.S. government required disclaimer. Trading of futures, forex, stocks, options, or any instrument of leverage has large potential for reward, but more importantly, large potential for loss. Do not trade with money that you cannot afford to lose, as we define this as trading with scared money. This will dramatically decrease your chances of becoming a successful trader, as it induces fear into your trading decision making. This is in no way a solicitation or offer to buy or sell futures, forex, stocks, options, or any instrument of leverage. It is important that you understand that we use historical pattern price action recognition coupled with support and resistance as a big part of how we trade. Past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. Even though you may see real money traded here of TFT, all results are considered to be trades taken in simulation with no representation that results can be matched in any live account similar to what is being shown. As CFTC Rule 4.41 clearly states, hypothetical or simulation performance results cannot be construed or considered in any way the same as real-time, real money trading results for many reasons. Use of any of this information is entirely at your own risk, for which Trend Following Trades, LLC, its affiliates, employees, or owners cannot be held liable. All information exists for informational purposes only. We are not registered trading advisors, nor do we claim to be. This is in part a summation and more of CFTC Rule 4.41. Thank you, everybody. Need to get that out of the way, and really appreciate everybody's understanding about that. I want to go through a summary. Today's a deep dive into trend following trades and all of where we've been, where we're going, and we also have another webinar on Thursday morning, a live trading webinar right at the open. But today's session is all about, again, where we've been, where we are, where we're going, and I want to actually let some three pictures scroll here for those of you that may remember back in the days, if you've ever heard of trend following trades, or back in 2012, 2013 in its inception. I'm just going to play a little slideshow here as I talk. We also want to discuss the truthful realities about what it takes. A lot of people, I don't want to say too many companies, throw around the term trading for a living versus what is often mistaken for profitable trading. So in the homepage of our website, I can go through a complete discussion of my path to success, and a lot of what we do here is based on that. I'm not some financial educated Wall Street guy that has all kinds of experience that way to offer you, but I can offer you experiences that I think are far more valuable as a retail trader, and that is all the mistakes that I made, and teaching people how not to make those mistakes, and with a partner like Lance, having the ability to take what I know now works and have it actually coded and programmed into what is now today, what exists as trend following trades, and tomorrow with some of the stuff you've recently seen with automation, where we're headed, with trend following trades in the future. So my history really isn't all that important, but bottom line, as with all traders, or almost all traders, I guess I can't use the all-inclusive word all, losing trader, back in the days where simulators weren't an option. You either did it on paper or you traded real money, and paper is a lot different than sim, but the long and short of it, lost a lot of money trading and got caught up in some stock halts in what feels like very much today, like the market feels very toppy, very heavy. The market just keeps going up like it did in 1999, and eventually the bubble popped. I don't know that that's going to happen now, but it sure feels like it. And it just stock trading very risky. After losing a couple accounts and not realizing what kind of trader I wanted to be, a lot of outside-in trading, a lot of one-to-one reward to risk. It wasn't until I committed myself to trend trading and 2-to-1 reward to risk trading, money management type of thing, did I realize any type of profitability. First with swing trading because I had a job, and my job came first as my wife and my family, my kids, and swing trading is the only thing I could do until I was able to move myself into a job where I freed up time that I could start to day trade. And even then, that was more difficult. However, I carried over the way I traded and swing trading into day trading, and was able to realize success that way also. Then came along a search, got into trend following trades in its infancy, wanted to do more, got tired of trading by myself. Actually, at that point in time, my wife was trading, but they wanted to trade room moderator, got into the company. They really weren't interested in growing it. Right there is what it was, and it's what I got into. Not this slide, but the past slide that comes in front of you. And so I bought the company out, and then was subbing out a lot of programming. Lance was one of the programmers, and long story short, Lance became a partner, and with the object of better programming, quality of tools, indicators, and a focus on automation possibilities. And obviously there were so many changes made. We had to change CT to CT2 and AMA to AMA2, and after almost 3 years together, we finally realized some of the automation that we're actually trading, and some of the successes and the potentials of it in both trading and educating. So currently, we're heavily involved in traders' education, realization of truths in trading, and traders' development, combining my trading skills with Lance's abilities. Has finally yielded the tradable automation of the method, not some obscure math formula, that's over optimized to produce some historical profit curve, but an actual method that's automated and currently being used to do what we call trade the open, because it's a very predictable period of time where most days it's a high volume, high range area. As I said, most days. This type of trading really can only be done with the AMA2, either manually, because it's a single click technology. And we use NinjaTrader's ATM technology, our AMA2 and CT2. Price doesn't need to be calculated. Stops and targets are automatically set. Moving stop and targets slightly for chart support and resistance. We can do easily, if it's part of your trading plan. We also use TFT's DDWR, the Daily Dynamic Wick Renko bars, and where we take into account the current condition of the range of volatility of the instrument being traded, and we anticipate on a daily basis by telling us what Wick Renko bar size to trade each and every trading day the day before. We'll go over this later in more detail. This type of daily change doesn't need to be used. However, it has very little downside, as demonstrated to both of us historically and forward trading since its inception in fall of 2016. Okay, swing trading is broken out as an option to keep pricing as low as possible. Templates are provided that use time bars. However, the same rules and tools, just some adjustments made for longer time frames. Options can be traded on underlying chartable instruments as long as NinjaTrader 7 can chart them. Underlying trading signals can be used on options platforms for execution. However, options execution is quite a bit different and more complex than straight up future stocks or forex execution, and cannot be done on NinjaTrader at this time. So here's some future summary. Automation has the most potential from actual trading to trading education. Okay, I never thought I'd be saying that word. How does automation affect trading education? Well, our goal moving forward on a step-by-step basis is to get the Trade the Open automation to a point where we can trade an account that can produce enough income for actually myself, that I can run it in a training room, not a trading room. All of you have been in trading rooms where you watch a moderator trade some account, whether it's sim or live. We always have to claim we're trading in sim, no matter which way we trade. But we need to make money as traders, okay, during the very best times of the day to trade as real traders, not moderators. And the only way to really do it that I could see is if you have a strategy that trades identical to the method and you teach while the strategy is trading, okay, then we can be educating our membership group on the TFT methodology and actually explain real time, and also later via recording, as to why the program strategy is taking or had taken the trades that it did, versus looking at a chart, with the advantage of hindsight, or trying to trade in a trade room as an educator and worrying about our own trades. It's not very conducive for the moderator or the membership group, because they both suffer. unless there's a large enough membership group that subscriber monies make up for lost monies that almost any real trade room moderator ultimately will experience if he or she is most concerned about education. And that is the truth. Okay. Also, we'll show you that there are many groups of instruments that actually have an open. We're trading the US Open indices, as you saw in the 20 videos that we did, 20 days of trading. But what about the European Open, the indexes for there? We haven't even explored that yet. And how about the currencies? They have 3 opens: Tokyo, London, New York. So there's so many possibilities for automation and trade the open and currencies and metals. So if we can solidify these strategies and lock in their performance in a predictable way, we'll try to give our lifetime AMA2 membership access. Of course, there's going to be a per fee contract, but it's going to be traded as an LOD strategy, letter of direction, done by a broker. As promised from the beginning, we did to promise all our lifetime members before December of 2016 that there's enough availability without overrunning these strategies with too much volume. We'll provide to lifetime members, we'll provide after December of 2016 an option to bring them up to the same status as a member that joined before that date. Remember that access will have chronological preference by membership date of joining. This is by no means written in stone. However, it's one of our goals as a company. In order to have access to any automation beyond the AMA2, we'll require lifetime CT2 and AMA2 membership before we be considered for access. However, many members can't just become successful discretionary traders. Even with all that we have to offer, maybe this will help them to accomplish profitability, allowing us to still be able to meet our company's mission statement, which is to be the last stop on a trader's journey to becoming a consistently profitable trader. Having a strategy prove to you that it can be done, and not by a historical profit curve, but by a live traded account, may be the final push that a member needs to break through the final step to profitability. Then comes trading for a living. That once profitability has been reached without a trade room moderator whose trades you're trying to mirror, makes getting to that final destination a whole lot easier. So why risk trading stocks where unexpected halts can do more than completely wipe out your account? This webinar was a target for a lot of traders that trade the open on gap trading stocks. They don't even realize what kind of risks they're taking. And again, the times that we're trading in right now feel a lot like they did back in the days right before the bubble pop of the tech, right around the turn of millennium 2000. So let's get into the details. Let me just take a sip of water, take a break. If anybody has any questions, I just got to clear a throat. But before I do that, let me know what we're going to get into when I come right back. We'll get into the members area of the website, go through the education part first, including a trade plan development through the end of the tunnel, so to speak. I'm going to go through the most common day trading tools or indicators and what they do as well as get into showing you the AMA2 in action. If the market will let us, it's a time of day where it's very slow and there's no guarantee that it's going to be a profitable trade. Just want to show you the actual mechanics of the AMA2, how it works. And then I want to hand you over to Lance and let him go over the strategy that he has programmed that we've actually been using for 3, 4, 5 days to have it trade the open. We can actually see how much power he's built into it, and the further how you can also further develop its capabilities. Then I'll go over the flow of what a member should do when they join from start to finish, and then we'll go to the purchase page and go over the detailed options. And they're not many, but it's important that you know what they are and how they work, and we'll also go over some of the special pricing, and then we'll answer any questions that you have until there aren't any more. So I'll just be back in a minute or two, so please just let me get a sip of water and I'll be right back. Please, anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Hang on a minute. All right, everybody, I'm back. Can I just get a quick audio video from somebody so I know that I'm at least broadcasting? I'd appreciate it. All right. Thank you. I'm going to go into the website first, into the members area. This is a unique peek into the educational side. Excuse me, into the educational side. And once you become a member, you get a login, obviously. And we have a full learning center in here. And then we have a trade plan guide. And then we record, they're not weekly sessions, but they're done when new topics come up and things like that. But their sessions going all the way back to 2013. And then this discusses DDWR, the daily dynamic Rick Renko, as well as the indicator that comes with it, so you can calculate for any instrument, well, various instruments, not any, various instruments on your own computer. So let me just go into the Learning Center here real quick. I'm logged in as a member, and in here, there's basically 6 areas, okay? And we intend to develop this further with what we call blocking. Let me just go pick into an area here. I'll go into complete indicator explanations and trade setup examples. You enter here, and then there's all subsections with videos. And our intention right now, you go into here, and then it runs a video. It'll go through the disclaimer that you just saw, and then forward on, and then it goes through and it explains all the inputs, what to do, how to do it, etc. And our intention, although we haven't completed it yet because it's very, very, very time-consuming and cumbersome, is to have this be a block quiz where if you can't get beyond the quiz, you're going to be blocked until you can pass the quiz. It's just that it's hard to make it bulletproof, so that, the one thing we can't do is we don't know how well our members are absorbing the information that's being taught here. Okay. Now, some of this is basic, how to use the indicator, how to set it up. Once you know how to set it up, that's pretty easy. But how to use it is where it becomes an issue, where we're trying to teach us to use it a certain way, and we want people to understand it a certain way in order to use it properly. So that's something we've been working on for a long time. It just takes so much time to do this type of block testing to set it all up that it's not necessary. It's just that it's a step that we'd like to add to get people to, so we know how far along someone goes. Now, we don't know when you fail a test, we only know when you pass a test. So that's something that we'd really like to add. Okay. And the whole Learning Center, when you go in here, the different areas are filled with a bunch. And then we go further, trade plan outlines, wick direct, and we have a bunch of areas under constructions for, options and things like that, stuff that as time goes on will get filled in. And right now, when people have specific questions relative to specific items that isn't covered in here, and it's quite in depth in here, I generally deal with them on a one-on-one basis. Okay, so the one area of the members site that's most important, and this is one of the places that we like to start, is this trade plan guide. Okay, now this trade plan guide, we talk about an introduction to a trend following trades trader education. And the most important part about trading really starts with your trade plan. So we have a video, but then we have a complete written trade plan guide. This is an actual tradable trade plan, but it's quite comprehensive. It talks about a trade plan, the importance of it, creating it, then back testing it, okay? And then we get into discussion of how to back test. And when you make changes to your trade plan, you don't make changes mid back testing. You make a change and you go back to the beginning and back test the change all over again. This is tedious, time consuming. It's done manually, all right? And you back test for confidence. And then once you feel that you've got a trade plan, it's back tested, you're going to miss stuff, but it's the human mind intentionally does it for a reason. This is, and I try to explain to people why that happens, but it's done for your benefit. You skip over some losing trades and you tend to see winning trades. But again, it's done for your benefit as a discretionary trader. So once you back test, you then sim trade, okay? And once you can sim trade, I'm going quickly through this, but once you can sim trade for a period of time, like a month, profitably, then it's time to flip the switch and try real money trading. Just one contract to try to real money trade so you can experience real money emotion and to see if you can still maintain the same trade plan without breaking the rules and profitability that you did in sim. Okay, most people can't. Matter of fact, I don't know anybody that could. Excuse me. I don't know anybody that could jump from sim to real money and maintain the composure that they did in sim with real money. I just don't know anybody that could. So it's a whole big step. Matter of fact, this is the biggest step going from sim to real money. People think getting profitable in sim is the hardest thing. It's not. It's jumping from sim to real money that is. So then we go on a whole quest to work on how to stay profitable in real money. And this is where people get really funny because they don't want to show you the truth. They feel embarrassed. They're too proud. And I can't help that. Individuals need to step up to the plate and admit, that they blew up an account or that they revenge traded their account that day into zero or whatever. Otherwise, we can't really help them. So anyway, we go further on. This is where the education starts from the basic core methodology of what a trend trader is and how a golden line works. And then we get into calculating money management, some basic general rules, our core setups that our software picks up and plots. And then we give you examples, very concise, exact examples, where the entry should be taken. Excuse me, I just have to clear my throat. Okay, where exact entries should be taken. Now, the AMA2 has 3 types of entries on one of the blocks, a left click, center click, and right click of the mouse. The right click of the mouse does a support entry only. The left click of the mouse does a dual bracket order entry, support and method. And then a center click of the mouse does a method entry only. So there's a lot of technology built into the AMA2, and we explain all that. So this is a method only entry, okay? Near left side support and resistance 1 and 2 entered, and we explain all that, all the different setups, all the different pullbacks, pause trades, pullbacks, deep pullbacks, just breezing through this because this is a deep dive into all the examples. And then we get into the trades that are not, our software does not pick up, and they're called pattern trades, all right? And this is a triple break trade example, double top, double bottom reject trade example, okay? And then we have a railroad track trade example. Now we teach them, but the software does not plot them. Now sometimes a pullback signal will be inside of one of these pattern trades, but currently right now they're very difficult to program with software. Some of the automation we're working with does actually pick them up, and I'll have Lance show that to you later. And then we talk about summary, about being responsible for your own trading, and that really trading is not about certain things. But having said that, I do want to do something here. I want to ask one poll question. By the way, we don't know who's answering these questions. We just want to get an idea of the way people think. I'm going to launch a poll question here. It's the only one I have. Let me just see if I can launch it here. I have to drag it in here for the sake of recording, but you should see it on your screen. Okay, I'm just going to do this. And please be careful when you answer this, because once you answer, you can't change your answer. Okay, how many of you believe you can buy software showing entries and exits with livable profit without complete market readability, meaning learning how to trade? How many of you believe that you can do it? I'm going to launch this. Okay, so if you can give me some answers, I'd really appreciate it. Again, I don't know who's answering. I only get a percentage of the number of people that answered. So, but just be careful in your answer, because once you answer, you can't change it. So I'm being told. Let me just knock this out. All right, so you got 33% voted. Okay, so the question's in front of you. How many of you believe you can buy software showing entries and exits with livable profit without complete market readability, or basically learning how to trade? That's 67%. 83. Please just say, again, if you can answer this, I'd really appreciate it. I have no idea who's answering what, only the percentage of people and what the answer is. So got 83% voted. If I get to 90, I'll be lucky. Never get 100%. Just give it another 10 or 20 seconds and then we'll move on. All right, so I'll just leave it there. So we got 40% say no, it doesn't exist. That's the Holy Grail. Hooray to you guys. You're right. And a 40% yes for scalping only, but with speed and dollars required. I can't say that you're wrong. Big dollars, big speed, and for scalping, and generally in the stock market. Okay, so this is big hedge funds, big banks, and the 20% no, no, no. Believe me, that almost cost me everything. Obviously, that's experience talking there. So I'm just glad nobody answered number 3. You know, you guys know what I'm getting at. There is no free lunch, and from a retail trading standpoint, I want to thank everybody for answering that. So anyway, let me get back to the members area here. We were in the learning centers a lot there. We went through the base method trade plan guide, a very important area. Let me just click on this weekly sessions area. These are hour long, some plus. They wind up being close to bi-monthly or monthly because we start to run out of topics to talk about after a while. But as you go through here, if I go to the last session in the beginning, they start back in April of 13. So there's basically 4 years worth. And they're back then, these were run a lot more often. We had a lot more to talk about. So for you members that are in here, don't be afraid to go back into some of these sessions. They really are filled with education. They're all pointed. They're all designed to be educational in nature. So even though a lot of the stuff's way outdated, it still all is around trend following trades trading, inside out trading, trend trading, and all of that. So it's a great tool to learn from. And then DDWR, the Daily Dynamic Wick Renko. We'll get more into this when we get into the indicators. This explains, tells you how to use it, how to add the indicator to your chart. So if anybody doesn't have any more questions about, and also we have a link here for Easy Trading Computers. Get a special discount for members if you want to buy a computer from Easy Trading. It's a good site to get a good trading computer at a really reasonable price, not a big box computer, one designed for trading. If anybody doesn't have any specific questions regarding the website, I'm going to go on to the indicators. So anybody has anything, please don't hesitate to type it in. Let me get into some of these indicators here. This is a CT chart. This happens to be the DAX. Want to just quickly go through some of these indicators and show you, better yet, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring a chart. One thing in trend following trades we don't need to do is we're an add-on, third-party add-on company for the NinjaTrader ecosystem, and we don't use chart templates anymore. You can if you want, but we don't need to. We take a basic daily chart or any chart, doesn't matter. And what you do here is we go into our indicator package and we do what we call, we'll go to CT2, the workspace generator CT2 here, and we'll just say new. And what this does is, this is really cool, is you can build up to 8 charts, okay, by simply putting in the instrument name and the front month. Brokers don't, you can use a continuation month. It won't give you an error. It'll give you a chart, but it doesn't give you updates. So you put the front month in, the Wick Renko type and size, and then because we auto calculate, you don't even really need to do this as long as it's one of the 30 supported markets, futures markets that we use. And then you really just leave us alone. And then the short-term market structure, short, middle, and long, and you leave the default. That's all we do. And then you can use 8 markets. If you just take this out and leave it blank, it'll only make you 1 chart. And then you hit OK, and poof, there's 8 charts for you. Okay. So the workspace generator, it is exactly what it is, creates charts for you. All right, which is really cool. So you don't need to load in indicators one at a time. You don't need to load in chart templates. Now, if you want to, you still can, or once a workspace is built for you, if you want to save it out, you still can, but you don't need to anymore. So I just think that's really neat. in the way that that's done. It's very, very unique to us, I think. I don't know anybody else that does it that way, and it's very, powerful in doing so. So let me just go over that, and then we have our swing indicator. Let me just put a pointer here. I'm just going to explain some of the other indicators that it puts on the chart for you. This swing indicator, these dots and these prices, we have a short, middle, and long term, and then with that we paint the background, this red and green. It tells us basically higher highs, higher lows, lower highs. Light greens long, dark greens confirmed long, light red is short, dark red is confirmed short. So this is market structure. So if you like to turn the background on, you can. If you don't need to. But this tells us with the indicator from a market structure standpoint, what kind of direction it's moving. Then we use our Momo divergence indicator. It's an indicator, it's a combined indicator. Some people like to call it a squeeze indicator, but there's a lot more in here. It's a hybrid momentum indicator. Green is in buy, red is in sell, and then we have a combined divergence. Okay, so down here you'll see a lower low, but we have a higher low in momentum, so we plot a green standard divergence bar. All right, but we don't just do outside in divergence. We have the same thing here. Okay, this green, a higher high and green, but we also plot inside out divergence. We call it continuation divergence. We measure the lower parts of the valleys. So when you're in a trend and you get a deep pullback, we'll let you know that this is a higher low from here inside, but this is a lower high. So the insides are diverged. So getting into here is a high probability trade. Very few people do this, okay? And then we have yellow, a chop zone, and transitioning, and these green stripes are buy mode. This red stripe is sell mode, but we have a sell mode with a green market structure, so not typically a good thing. So we have multiple indicators. We look for alignment of certain indicators and things of the sort. Extended divergence, reverse divergence, and hidden divergence, a lot of things that we plot. This is all part of the standard CT2 package, okay? We also have something called a trigger line. When you're below this for a long, this is a value area. When you're above it for a short, we consider it a value area, stuff on sale. We've also colored this line now what we call swing cumulative delta, where we're measuring the net difference between the volume that goes off at the bid in relationship to the volume that goes off at the ask. So if the percentage is greater, it plots it green. If it's on the ask side, if it's greater on the bid side, it plots it red. So you can actually have this going up and be red and going down and be green. It really has nothing to do with the direction. Like here, you see it's going down and it's green, okay? It really has to do truly with net swing, net delta volume. And it's something unique to what we do. You can make it set it to 1, the default setting 7. So basically every 7 bars it resets. It resets at a blue swing point. However, you can set it to every single bar, and then it becomes more of a volume profile at that point. But we really like to see a longer average than what happens at 1 bar. And then of course we went over the DDWR. For this day it was a 10-wick Renko, and let me just bring in a chart of the DAX and how the DDWR works. This is how we calculate it. Let me just enlarge this a little bit. This is what it does. It tells us, like for today, we should be using a 10-wick Renko chart. Here's today, and here's a 10-wick Renko. And yesterday was a 9, the day before was a 10, then a 10, then a 12, then a 16, and a 17. And here's the day's range prior to that, and you can see it follows. And the blue is actually the range for the day is plotted on top. I have it plotted on here. The actual range for the day, so you can see it really follows the range pretty good. And if the range is greater than the DDWR size, that's okay. If it's less, as long as we're not below half, we generally are okay. So you can see most of the time we're really not below half, just maybe 1 or 2 days in a year's time. And it really has dramatically increased the ability to reach profit when the days are short and small in range, and the ability to extend profit when the days are large, and it allows us to capture more profit, because we always generally teach 4 bricks of profit, 2 brick stop, and you adjust for chart support and resistance at the trade when you take it. So this is one way to calculate DDWR. We also calculated another way, which I'll show you when we have the AMA2, and that's in a market analyzer format where you can have a list of instruments and just pick it out from there. So this is essentially the CT2 for day trading. I want to show you real quick what, if you ever get into swing trading, what that's going to look like. Let me go, just going to pull in here real quick. We have multiple templates we provide for swing trading. Can't fit them all on one monitor. When you get into swing trading, you can create separate workspaces, but I have to drag them from a different monitor. You can put them all on top of each other, but essentially we have a grid. I didn't connect to the feed, but essentially I'm not connected right now. But what you have is you have stocks, forex, futures, whatever. And then here we have daily and weekly. These are the two charts I have. You can have hourly, you can even have tick charts, but when you go into swing trading, you get into time bars. Okay, and this is really what, let me just see, I think I have some Apple data up here. I'm probably going to have to connect. No, I still have data here. But you can essentially see, this is a daily chart of Apple. Still the same indicators, same methodology, same rules, same tools. It's just we lose a chop zone because daily bars have such wide ranging tall bars, short bars, that you put a chop zone in here, it really has no true meaning. So, swing trading, let me try to connect here. And let's just see if it pops in real quick or if it's going to take a while. Then we compare daily to weekly. We can color our bars with multiple time frames. So I'll just show you here real quick. Let's see Apple should, because there's a database built for it already. I forgot to connect before the webinar. We actually get signals and things like that of when to go in. So what we do is, you see the outside of the bars here. Let me just get a pointer. The outside of the bar here, okay, the weekly chart, we color the outside of the bar, the secondary time frame, with a monthly chart. And the daily chart we color with a weekly chart. So when it's colored black, that means the secondary time frame matches. So the weekly is currently in line with the daily, but the weekly is not in line with the monthly. So the monthly is in sell right here, and right here the monthly goes back in the buy. So you don't need all those multiple charts to see if they're in alignment in the same mode. I can click on any of these. AXP, this is another stock. Again, for swing trading, options works great with this, for longer time frames or for your IRA. These are stocks. Let me just click on a Forex pair. You can do Forex with this. We used to break this out into types of trading instruments. Now we break it out into day and swing trading. And then you can obviously also do, if we pick like, here is futures. So, if you have a large enough account, you can swing trade actual futures. So this is the NQ. This has been nothing but up, 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 up and away. And I really don't know when it's going to, stop. But if you've been taking signals on even the slightest of pullbacks on this ride up, you've been able to capture a lot of profit if you've had the account size. So these are filling in because I just connected. So if anybody has any questions on the swing trading, and I can pull in hourly charts, 2 hours, 4 hours. I can pull in the Wick Renko, but I have to pull them up and pull them in. But it's basically more of the same. You can actually line them all up too. You see this blue? These are link charts. Okay, so this is a daily, weekly. I can have a Wick Renko. I can have a 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, daily, weekly, all in a line. But let's say I had 3 monitors. I can't broadcast 3 monitors, but I can have these charts all side by side, and I can have columns in here with all of the triggers and the time frame columns with the proper setups all in here, and all the charts in a row in a line. So it all depends how you want to set your workspace up. And these are templates we can provide for you, or you can edit on your own. So this is part of the swing trading option, okay, which is part of CT2. AMA2 really is all about day trading. So I wanted to show you this for those that want to get into swing trading. It's very powerful. I highly recommend it. It's a way to really learn how to trade lets you think longer, gives you more time to make decisions. You get to read a chart a whole lot better. You even get to do some research outside of technical analysis. So I'm going to move on here. Going to get into the AMA2, which I know a lot of people are very interested in. So let me just move this back out of the way, unless somebody has some questions. Okay, I just want to click on the ES here. And I want to get into just some of the differences on indicators with the AMA2. You get everything that the CT2 has, and the workspace generator here. When you get into the workspace generator, okay, this one, instead of, workspace generator up here, instead of, let me just put it in here, instead of building charts, it will also build you a grid. Okay, now here's row 1, 2 through 12. You can see this is a grid on the left-hand side of half the monitor, accompanied with a CT2 chart on the right-hand side. So when you build a grid, you can have one row up to 12. This grid happens to have 12 rows. Okay, you don't need to have 12 rows. The homepage on our website only has 6. So again, you would tell it with a grid, and then you build a grid, you fill out what you want these market structure sizes to be and things of the sort all in here, and it actually goes and builds you a grid. Okay, and if you leave it blank, it will only build, if you want to build 2 rows, you fill out the first 2. If you want to build 3, you fill out the first 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until it goes down to the bottom. And you can change all the colors and, everything like that. So it builds you a grid with accompanying charts. So, that's kind of the way that works. Let me just remove this because I already have everything built. So you get that. Then also, I want to explain the AMA2 here, really how this works, so you can get an understanding. We have on here every row changes. We place this chart right next to here. It's a workspace, okay? And this row becomes a workspace. So every time you click on a row, it brings up a different workspace. You're actually looking at a different chart of a different workspace. So it's incredibly fast when I click and it brings up a different row and workspace. Notice how much real estate it actually saves. I'm bringing up every time a new chart of another workspace. So it's basically like having 12 monitors or 6 monitors sharing a workspace, just for the charting. And then up here, these market structure blocks, there's some execution, but I won't get into that. This is showing you short-term market structure, middle and long, with red dots, blue dots, black dots. Then the divergence condition, that's the DC. It's showing you at the bar here on the right what divergence condition. White is a normal, meaning the center white. There's no divergence being plotted. Let me look at the black here. If I hit the YM, you'll see there's a, let me see here. I don't know. I'm looking at, I might be looking at another chart here. But essentially your divergence condition, see here in the green, see this green inside? Okay, it's showing you green inside here. It carries over the divergence condition into the center. You notice here we see the pink extended divergence. You see pink in the top block here. Okay, so it will often bring that in. And then we have a little price action in Momo. These are actually live windows. This is the only chart we have open that we see here, but we can watch the other markets in these small views. Now you can resize this window from a maximum size all the way to any size that you want. Okay, so if you have 2 monitors, you can put this fully sized on one monitor and your charts fully sized on another, and then you just use 2 monitors for up to 12 markets. It can be used for that. And then we have net change. This is manually, we can zero this out. As you click, it takes, I'm only going to do the first 5. It takes a tick, it has to tick through to actually zero it out. And you'll see them zero out. So you can start like at the market open, we'd like to zero these percentages out and the indexes so that we can see what's the leading and what's the weakest, what's the strongest market. Now we have another indicator you can put on a time chart that'll show you that too, but it shows you here right inside the AMA2. Then the NT7 ATM strategy, when we do execute a trade, we can tell it what ATM strategy we want to use from the ones that you have created. Since we always work in bricks of Wick-Renko bars, doesn't matter what size Wick-Renko bar you're using, we can use 2 brick stop, 4 brick target, and we can just use like 3 cars, 3 contract, 3 Wick-Renko, and we can use that for any instrument. And then last price is the last price it was traded. Then we have, I'm just going to skip to this, I'll get back to this order flow, but this click to market. Well, let me talk this order flow. First, the graph, the green and red. The green is the color of the trigger line. Before we were coloring on a chart, we had more green than red, or more red than green. That is what the color intra-bar of this trigger line would be. And then click to market, if you left click on this bar, it would, when it's indigo, it's in sell. When it's cyan, it's in buy. If you left click, it would just throw in a market order with this ATM, that's here. If you right click, it does just the opposite. Okay, so it would go long instead of short. And then when a trade would, like right now, it's if it would close up above, or it already closed within what we call a pause trade, this stop limit or stop market would light up, these light colors, and then you could left click on it and it would put an order in at method at this dash line. And that's all we used to have, was this dash line entry. And you could move this dash line up or down a few ticks if you wanted to. And then when it got in, as the trade got in with the ATM that's being used, it would then be, as it went into profit, this box would light up orange, move to break even. Anytime you were in with any profit, you could click it and it would pull the stop to break even with a single click. So it's all single click technology. But what we added, and then also here at the close, anytime you had orders in or you just want to close out, you hit this close button. It would cancel any orders or close this position in this row. Now, if you were in multiple positions, and this right here is open P&L when you're in a trade, the 0 next to in each row, and it's closed P&L if you're flat in that row, and down at the bottom, the top 0 is open P&L of all your positions, and the bottom 0 is closed P&L of all your positions. If you combine the two, and if you ever watch those videos in our website under performance intraday charts or our YouTube channel, you'll see that when they got over $1,000, I was hitting the lower right-hand box here, which is what we call global close, where it just flattens all positions, all rows, everything. So when I was getting over $1,000 plus a little bit of commission, I would hit a global close, and it just flattened everything. So you don't have to worry about any of that. So that was the AMA. And then with the order flow, we added our first level, true level of automation, where when this lights up, you would left click, it would put the bracket order in, one at method, one at resistance. See this orange dot right there? You center click, it would put one at method only, and you right click and it would put one at resistance only. So since the NQ, right now we're in an order, I'm going to right click on this box only. Watch what happens.
Order pending.
At resistance only. Okay, now I'll close that order out to cancel it.
Order canceled.
Okay, I'm going to left click. It might get us right in because it already traded there. So I'm going to left click.
Order pending.
Bracket order. Okay, one at method and one at resistance. Let me close it.
Order canceled.
Okay, and then I'm going to center click. Just let it tick a second. The market's really, really slow. I have to, okay, I'm going to center
Order
click.
pending.
Method only. This might get us in, okay? So now if it clicks, it'll click in at method only, and it'll enter with this ATM. So let me just close this out. The white box doesn't show up and tell us there's an order in market until it actually clicks. Let me just close this out.
Order canceled.
Until it ticks through. So let's look at, let's see which has got a little better setup. The YM's in chop. When you're in chop, by the way, it plots yellow here, okay? And we actually have the ability to do certain things. The order flow button didn't just give us the left, center, right click. It also gave us the true automation portion of this. And let me go in here and show you, which there is actual automation built in the AMA too. It's standard with it. It's single trade automation. Let me go on the setup manager. And this is right in here. This area right in here. And the strategy trade button is what we call it. And you can turn it on, and what it does is it gives you the ability, the simple side of it, like require market structure unconfirmed. So if you're in sell mode, you want to see a light red background, or a light or dark red background. So if you turn those to true, that means you need to have market structure with you. And if these are set to false and that's set to true, okay, or these are set to true and that's set to true, it won't even plot these signals, yet alone take the trade. So that's one area. And then you could have like this trigger line, okay? You could require a trigger line color match and require a trigger line direction match, meaning it has to be pointed down and it has to be red or orange, reddish. If that's not the case, it won't even plot a signal or light up the order flow color in the background. So you can really filter out a lot of different things. If you're trading into divergences, if you're trading into chop, you can have it not plot any signals, or if you want to trade in chop, we flip support and resistance. Notice how this orange dot's on a green line, which is support, but it's flipping it, calling it resistance, and this green dot's on an orange line, which is resistance, calling it support. So if you want to play ping pong in here, it's not trend trading, but you can. Basically, we want to get long or short into a breakout, and that's what generally happens in chop. Breakout traders are our friends. We are not breakout traders. So if the move's going to continue, it's going to break out. We want to be long or short into that direction. And we try to take profit at these areas of support or resistance before they break out if there's enough in it, or we move money management, meaning move the break even in case it bounces back in our face. Because the outside in traders, the ping pong traders want to come back and go the other way. So you can near left side support or resistance. If you're not, you can take trades only at those areas. Number of trades in a run. You can have MOMO threshold, meaning if the momentum is too high, you can have a level that reaches. If it hits that area, you can have it so it won't even light up or plot trades. So there's incredible power in here. And this was the start of the strategy that Lance is going to talk about that we actually have been trading. But I just want to show you how I want to get into a trade here with one of these that are lit up. Let me just take this NQ trade. I'll just
Order
left click.
pending. Order filled.
Okay. So it got in, and you can see here, red means we're short. All right. It'll give us a P&L in here. Okay. You can see here it means we're short 6, 2 brick stop, 4 brick target, and then the trailer's all the way down here. There's a lot of different ways to exit. So, and then if we're in profit by a tick, this will turn orange. Hopefully it'll come into profit by a tick. And then usually there's ways, you can program the ATM. It's a NinjaTrader ATM, so however you want to program it to either move your stop or trail, you can do that. And since we're using NinjaTrader's chart trader, you can have it, you can move the stop around however you want just on the chart. But let's see, like here we have a UB, very expensive instrument. I don't like trading a 2-wick Renko chart on pretty much anything. So this is going short with the trigger line pointed up in green, meaning a long indication. Not interested in that. But that's the only trade that is lit up. But I'll just come here. And so there's kind of a little demonstration of, this is what we call a transition. We're going from buy to sell, standard divergence, start point, higher high. So it's transitioning. We have a lower high. We went into market structure sell, pulled back. It's actually what we consider a price failure trade, and we're short right now. So if it continues on, I have no idea. This is not really a great time of day to trade, 3 o'clock Eastern, but I just wanted to show you it's all single click technology, no calculating of price, and when we use this to trade the open, which we will be doing on Thursday on the webinar, it starts at 9 a.m. We'll be trading the 9:30 Eastern Open live. I'll be doing the top 4 rows here, the US indices only, ESYM, NQ, EMD. I do not have TF feed for this platform currently right here. We're going to try to go for $1,000 target or stop. And you'll get to see how fast you actually get to use this. And we'll also be using this 2-minute chart off to the side here for weakest and strongest. We're not going to be able to go short. Like in this case, the NQ or long the EMD. That's just rules we use. Currently, we went short right now just because I'm demonstrating, but normally we wouldn't do this because the NQ right now is the strongest market. So, if we have options in an active market, we would not, we would probably go short right here, the EMD at this high area, in preference because it's the weakest market. But again, I don't know, I'd be trading this time of day, especially after you see all these runs down and up. throughout the day that, by the way, this is another indicator we didn't show you. It plots times 9:30. You can set it to plot whatever start and end times. Here's yesterday's end time. It plots in brown. So there's other indicators I didn't show you, but we went through some of the basic ones. So I'm going to pass this over. I'm going to make Lance an organizer here, and I'm going to allow him to talk about the strategy and what we've done. We've posted a lot of them just so you can see here. You can either go to our YouTube channel or under the performance intraday charts. You click on this here, you can click on these videos, okay? Some of them have announcements, some of them are just videos showing, but the comment, and there are probably 30 now or 25 videos, and prior to that we had static charts posted. Yeah, we got to go way back to show you the static charts of the actual setups for that day, that some were traded, some weren't, and some were charts sent in by members asking if this is a good setup or not. You click on it again and it enlarges it. And then I have comments on the bottom here talking about the day, things like that. So a lot of education and a lot of continued education inside here. So having said that, Lance, I'm going to upgrade you to organizer, let you take over. Everybody, Lance Britton, partner, developer, programmer, trend following trades, and I'm going to hand over to you. I think I did.
So what I have open up here right now is, right now I'm connected to Market Replay just before yesterday opened up. So just to show you the time, right now I'm located in Central Time in Chicago here. So the market opens up at 8:30 here. So this would be 9:30 Eastern. And what I'm going to do is just kind of play through just yesterday's open. But before I do that, I just want to briefly explain on the charts what I've done here. These aren't the charts that we use for discretionary trading right now. These are charts that I'm working on for purposes of developing a strategy. So these symbols, if you're discretionary trading, this can be really cluttered, but they allow us to go back and perform tests to see where the entries would have been. So for example, this squiggly line lets me know that it was looking for a railroad trade entry at that point. The PB stands for pullback trade, and the DB stands for double bottom, or DT if it's a double top trade that was looking for a particular setup. So this is a tool we've been working on for quite some time now, and our goal with it is to get it to the point where it's going to allow us to actively teach during a live market. So what I'm going to do now is just bring in the strategy window here and show you what I've enabled. So on one of my charts here, I've enabled the strategy, and just to scroll up to the top, what I have it running on right now is the NQ, ES, YM, and the TF. On these, I've defined based on our DDWR settings for yesterday, plugged in the different respective bar sizes. So we have the NQ running on 5, YM on 4, and so on. And from that, I've gone and defined some different money management rules. So for today, with the lot sizes that I'm using, I'm shooting for a target of $600 and roughly a stop of $600, whichever one happens first. I don't have them set exactly to 600 in here just because I'm dealing with slippage, and right now when everything is closed out once, sometimes you get slipped a few ticks, so I'm trying to compensate with that by setting a few ticks, a few dollars higher. So with that being said, I'm just going to go down to the bottom here and make sure that this is all applied here. And once this is done setting up, I'm just going to go ahead and start playing the replay data here at an accelerated speed. So a lot of times I'll do this once I've done the trading at the open for the day. I'll go back into replay the next day when the data is available from NinjaTrader, and then just make sure all the trades and processing happen properly with the strategy so we can continue to develop it as we move forward. So right now the market's about to open up. Now we can see the market open. So right now I'll slow it down here. What happened real quick there because we were accelerated speed. The YM here is now in a trade long. It took this, looks like a pullback buy here, and it moved up 2 bricks, so automatically moved it to break even, has its target order placed up here, a second target at a higher price beyond that. Right now there's some, I'm still working on improving the money management logic, but there's some basic logic in there to move the stop before the first target gets hit. If I just speed this up a bit more, looks like the NQ got stopped out, but the YM is still in a trade long here. And the total P&L, let me pull over the strategies window here so you can see a P&L view of what's actively being traded here. So it's monitoring this and hoping that it hits $600 profit before it hits $600 loss. So we hit our first target on the YM. And right now we're
Looks like you got long the
going at
NQ
about
too.
15 times speed. I'll speed it up a bit more. Yeah, long on the NQ as well. And if I remember correctly here, this one's going to hit its daily target here pretty soon. All right, so just right there. What happened, the NQ hit its first target, and a few ticks later, both the YM and the NQ collectively had a P&L of right around $600. So on the market replay, my commissions aren't set properly, but ended up closing out right around $590. So that's just a look into the backside of what we're kind of developing here with the strategy, and we're constantly working on this every morning for since last Tuesday. We've been running this each morning and tweaking it along the way. So with that, I think I'll pass it back on to
Okay,
John.
Lance, can you hang on a second? Can you leave that up? I just want to let everybody know.
I'll keep it up.
Thank you very much, Lance, for showing that. Lance and I did trade this. It's in a recording. We traded this live, not in replay, to over a $1,100 target. I did it on my computer with the strategy. He didn't have the money management part of the program, so I just moved the chart trader manually. But it did work. And one thing that's very unique is this is the trend following trades methodology being programmed, not some obscure optimized method. So also, if you notice, you'll see pink lines and green lines. What Lance and I have been working on this for almost 3 years. This is not some stab at in the dark at some project. Working on for a long time, but while working on automation, a lot of the tools that we're working with discretionarily have been backed out and brought over to the discretionary side. So right now you're looking at something that's not on the discretionary side. You're looking at identification of pattern trades. You're looking at back channel. You'll see the green and the red lines. They're actually back channel lines being drawn through swing dots. So eventually, hopefully, when we get along and get to certain places, if we feel that there's value in bringing that over to the just discretionary side, we will. But first, we have to find the value in doing so. So I just wanted to thank Lance for all his hard work in programming and the effort that he's put in. And it's been a lot of effort over a long period of time to get us where we're at, especially working with Wick Drenko. You won't see too many people. It's a great bar to trade, but I know from talking to other programmers and working with them, it's a real bear to program with. So thanks again, Lance, and really do appreciate your time and your efforts. And do want to, if you don't mind, let me just take back over here.
Yeah, I think you might be able to click it, or let me see if I can make you a presenter here.
Okay, great. I will do this, and I'll go 3 clean. Okay, great. So, we're doing more and more of this Trade the Open, and our goal, make no mistake, our goal is for us to trade it and have it running in a room we're going to call a training room, not a trading room. But while it's running, like Lance said, I like to have it actually running when the AMA is in the background, so that even though I'm not using the AMA, I leave these ATMs on none, and then I can't take any trades with the the AMA too. But then I can explain why a strategy is taking trades, and then I don't have to worry about trading, because it's going to trade for me. Okay, now any trades we take here in trend following trades, even if they're with real money, always need to be considered as being taken in sim. And our goal is not to have people mirror our trades. Our goal is to have you learn how to trade. However, to be focused as an educator, I need to not worry about my own trading. And to be honest with you, anybody that says that they can trade and educate really isn't being honest with you. They're living off your subscriber money, and then try to get many people in a room as you can, because it detracts. If I try to trade my real size, in a room, I'm worried about my trade. So the only other option is cut my size down, trade a few contracts, 3 to 5 or whatever, and make it look good. And then, have people join and try to convince you that you can learn to trade for a living by doing it that way. That's just wrong and deceitful. I'm sorry. So the goal is to get a strategy robust enough and strong enough that can actually make enough money that I can make a living trading, and then I can teach people how to trade the trend following trades way. So, and if it holds up, then we can branch out into different groups, the European indices, like I said before, the currencies, different opens. We have this this tool, and it's not fully developed yet, but we're starting to work with it. At least I am. I'm just going to maximize this, where we have volume and range, and you can see here, like this is just the DAX as an example. This is a 3 a.m. I'm sorry, this is our open, but you look at here, 3 a.m., the European Open, there's a huge surge of volume and range, so we may be able to create a strategy using the DAX, the FESX, the T, some of the European futures when the European market opens up. So, there's a whole untapped, I'm going to say, place for what we're doing in other instruments for indices and for other classes of instruments, currencies, energies, metals, who knows? But I know for sure for indices and currencies, you have the Tokyo, the London, and New York, 3 opens there. And then for indices, I know we definitely have 2 opens, Europe and New York. So Europe and the New York Cash Open. So this is the stuff that we're working on. And, again, we're not allowing the automation for the member group yet, but actually right now we're not even, we've made commitments that if we do make this available, it will be to the members that join first, and there will be a charge for it. But we're more than likely, if it works for one group, it's going to work for another, and as we expand, it'll work for all of them, and then we can open up to other members to have access. Okay, but we're not going to allow trading on people's computers. It's too dangerous. There's too much liability, and too many things can go wrong. If the strategy goes wacko, it'll destroy your account, whatever. Your internet goes out, you're kind of fumbling around. So it'll be a LOD strategy where a broker trades it, kind of a managed futures type thing. So that's pretty much where things are at. I do want to take you to the website here for those of you that have interest. If you go into the purchase area, you'll see some options in here. There aren't many, but you just need to understand, we do have a webinar special. We don't run specials often at this range, and we don't run webinars often. So, our standard pricing, our special pricing, day trading CT2, day and swing trading with the CT2, it's very powerful on its own, but the AMA True 2 is where the real strength is at, for day trading, and then day and swing trading. Swing trading brings in other bar types, predominantly time, meaning, hourly, minute, day, weekly, month. You can bring other bar types in, but, we can't guarantee that the signals are going to be where they're supposed to be. So that's just the factor of the way we trade. Notice these asterisks. Lifetime access no longer includes future access to LOD strategy. That's going to be optional, and then there will be a fee. We're working towards that, but we need to take baby steps with automation because it's a big thing. It's a big deal, and we need to do it right. So having said that, anybody has any interest, feel free to join. Anybody has any questions, feel free to email or Skype or call. I'll be turning back on Skype the minute this webinar is over. So I don't know if there's any unanswered questions here. It looks like you were able to take care of all this, Lance. I do appreciate that during the webinar. So looks like everybody got their questions answered. So again, anybody has any new questions, please don't hesitate to type them in now. If not, you have our contact information. I'm just going to keep this going for another minute just to give everybody a chance. Trend following trades, contact tab. Here's email, our phone, and Skype. Anytime after 2 p.m., basically. And just please don't call on Skype. Leave an IM, and then we'll hook up however we can. So, by the way, what Lance was talking about on the 15th, which was yesterday, this was the target, and there's the video. You can see it trading live. Actually, I did it on my computer with the strategy, and I just moved the money management side of it to stops up as they work their way towards target. So having said that, it looks like everybody's done. I want to thank everybody. Have a great day. Good luck trading, and hope to see everybody this Thursday at 9 a.m. for a 9:30 live Trade the Open session. All you have to do is register or opt in to get an invitation where you can register then. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody.